notice any quality change also. I think there's less stuttering. I think there was last time, but I didn't think to mention it. But we have new internet here at the apartment, and I think we're getting probably better bandwidth. I'm going to check my quality. Yeah, I'm just curious if we don't have any of that kind of garbling we used to get in the stuttering video.
Sure. Jess, did you end up having to get a different computer?
No, I'm still using Andrew's laptop. Doesn't seem to be any issues just yet, but it might be the changes that he's done with the internet. So
cool.
We were on a really small bandwidth upstream because you have your down and your up when you have your internet, and usually it's the down where you get everything because you stream movies and whatnot. But when I would try and stream to the internet, like playing World of Warcraft or whatever, when I would just run tests, my video would really like knock it down a lot. It was shitty quality, and I think that's what I was running into. So I switched internet providers, one to get away from AT&T because I was pissed off, but then also just happened to be able to get access to. I went from like I was supposed to have 1.5 meg upstream, but I was in reality getting about 500 kilobytes upstream. It was like a third of what I was supposed to get, and now I think I'm getting like 6 or 7 megabytes upstream. Like it's way more. And I think that's why the quality is going to increase.
Awesome.
Hopefully.
So we will probably finish up this story point tonight, I'm guessing. Because we're close, right?
Yeah, I think we cleared out the first floor. We saw a portal opening up, and Jessica was able to force it closed with magic when we were able to force Jamie back through.
Well, maybe it was Tim. I mean, we can't. Maybe. Who knows for sure?
But yeah, I think we closed that portal and we were getting ready to head downstairs.
Okay.
Braxton's with us, I think, in the room.
I think Grundy is still strapped to your chest.
Yeah, I got Grundy. And I was actually kind of thinking about afterward, like I should have just tossed him through that hole, make him somebody else's problem. But I like that you put Grundy in here, but I think we're having more fun with Braxton, and as a player, I kind of forget Grundy sometimes.
Yeah.
So I think I might just find a way to dump Grundy on the world, unless Jessica has a preference that we keep him around, or if you want to carry him around and like have fun with him.
Make him your problem instead of mine.
Make him your foul mouth 6-inch problem.
We should. Why don't you just pass the buck over to what was his name?
Braxton.
Yeah.
It could be
talk to himself for a while.
That could be a funny pairing. Okay, I need to do the beginning of session move with you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So your barbarian horde, your barbarian tribe, I think you said they were sort of mobile. They sort of in roving bands. And I guess I'm wondering, not so much technologically how advanced they are, but is this like the aesthetic I'm thinking of is almost like Native American, where they like quickly break down their shelters and they've got maybe horses or oxen or something. I mean, is this a culture that's pretty soundly based around like animal husbandry and animal handling, or do they move kind of more slowly on foot? And are they agricultural at all? Like, what's the non-combat side of these people?
Yeah, I think they're like you mentioned, they have highly mobile lifestyle. They live in little frames with like animal skins draped over them. The wealthiest have larger frames and more luxuriant skins, fresher skins. I don't think that they're like the Native Americans generally would, if they were more mobile, it's because they were staying close to a source of food and they would follow it on its migration. I have a feeling the barbarian hordes probably just like they didn't have any agriculture to protect. They didn't have the technology or the skill to build like massive buildings, and they were pretty much afraid of the elven ruins that they would see. And so they basically didn't want to be a sitting target. You keep moving, and you use that movement to obfuscate your numbers. And so we did have like beasts of burden that we'd use to like ride out on scouting and carry, maybe even pull some wagons and things. We had the wheel, but we didn't have any sort of fixed stockpiles of food, and we just kind of went wherever we wanted, but we never stuck around any one place too long, and probably would fight over, like, if there's a herd of buffalo or their equivalent that come through, maybe a couple of tribes start stalking them, and you have a little war between each other to figure out who has the right to like farm that herd while it goes through the area.
Okay. So in terms of, because I always try to think of some sort of pop culture analog to know what I'm thinking or how I'm framing it. It almost seems like they're a cross between, oh God, what are they? The Game of Thrones people.
The free folk?
No,
north of the wall?
No. The Khal Drogo people, the horse people. Like a cross.
Yeah, probably
like
more like that without a city.
I was thinking like a cross between them and like Sand People from Star Wars, where they're almost more like scavenger kind of people who, and not that that's what you're saying, but they sort of, I don't get the feeling that the cows move around because they're trying to hide.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
I think that's probably a big part of it. And I like the idea of scavenging. Like anytime people would pass through our area, if they were a vulnerable caravan or something, we would definitely try and take what they had. But we probably never pushed too far into the like civilized lands. And maybe that's why Tina fled into more civilized lands, was like she was sick of being a slave and figured, let's get away from these assholes and see what these other assholes over here that live in houses act like.
Yeah. And maybe, and not trying to force you in this direction, but it could be that part of the reason that she left is because she's chasing glory, because she's almost chasing like, I don't want to say honor, but glory. It's not a glorious victory to scavenge from the weak who are passing by you. It's
that's good. That's good. I like that.
Okay.
She probably misinterprets people treating her like treating novelty as respect. Like she got early on, like, oh, you're different. Like whether it's because I'm a foreigner or because I'm a woman, but like because I had this prowess and I was building reputation, people like really treated me differently, and I thought it was a corollary to respect.
Sure.
And so I started really trying to impress people around me, and I've got these really weird ideas about how to do it.
Okay. If either of, I don't know if either of you could level up, but you wouldn't right now because we're sort of midstream, right? Like,
correct,
in terms of the mechanics of the game. Okay. Okay. I think that you summed up where we were pretty well. I don't know, Jessica, do you have any other recollections from a couple weeks ago of kind of how we left off that Andy left out?
No, not really.
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, the only sort of flavor details I remember, other than what you already said, is that Jinka did hurl a fireball into the room, and so there's sort of cinders and scorch marks throughout the room where the fireball hit, and hit two of the essentially flying monkeys, and they flew out and took off, seemingly fleeing away. And then, in terms of the visual aesthetic of the room, there's these like wavy, almost footprints of where a portal was in the wall, right? Just kind of pockmarked around the wall, some larger than others, but all of them had this sort of liquid rock look of when a portal shimmers and then shimmers out of existence. It sort of creates a irregularity on the wall, and that's obscured a bunch of ancient elven script that was covering the walls. And that this was the temple that Aaron, who you met or saw during your last breath move, is studying. Cool.
And I think the last session also, there was some ominous ritual going on,
right?
But we got stuck up on a hillside overlooking, and like specifically, we're not able to stop whatever was going on. So like Tina's tense going in here, like bad juju happened, and we're trying to clean up the mess instead of stopping it from happening.
Right. You guys heard the louder and louder and louder chanting in your ear. I guess Jinka heard the louder and louder and louder chanting in her ears. when you guys enter the room, you could also hear it just audibly with your ears. And then it kind of came to a fever pitch and stopped. And there was this kind of rattly laugh, ominous laugh from down below.
We knew that that language wasn't something that I couldn't identify, nor could, what's his name? Identify,
Grundy?
correct? Yeah.
I don't remember you guys asking Grundy if he could identify it.
I don't think we did. And if I know Grundy, he probably could. But I wouldn't. I haven't thought to ask him.
Yeah.
But maybe as we're getting ready to go down there, that's a good Jenka thing. Maybe a good way to start it off.
Yeah, I mean, in character, you know that he can speak other languages. Out of character, I think you and I both know he probably could interpret it. So let's start there. You're in the sort of larger chamber, upstairs chamber of this temple. There's an open stairway leading down. It's just a stairway in the floor, in the middle of the room leading down. And you saw kind of a dull, pulsing purple glow from that space as well. And you just hear the kind of almost like a hissing type breathing, like a rattly, almost asthmatic type breathing from below. Jenka, what do you think?
My first thought is someone gonna say, "Luke, I am your father." But
you never know.
All right. So I keep forgetting Gumby's name. What's it again?
I'm Gumby, damn it. No, it's Grundy.
Okay, Grundy. Do you know any of the words in that incantation or spell that they were saying recently?
Grundy kind of peeks his head out from his spot. Yeah, I mean, I know what that was all about. You're not going down there, are you?
Yeah, we kind of are. So if you could give us a heads up, that'd be pretty cool.
It was. Well, first of all, can you set me down?
Yeah. Tina?
I'll kind of take him out and like, where do you want to just plop him down? I'll kneel down with him and put him down.
So it's been great. You guys are brave's not the word. Fucking stupid. I'll leave you with this, but I'm not going down there. It was saying grow, 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 over and over, saying grow, and calling to the earth, calling to the ground. It's not an exact. I mean, the words aren't the same in all languages, but it was like asking the ground to grow and to give something. It's like a rain dance almost.
Well, it sounds fairly natural, and I'm not sure why you're so scared about it.
I would think that the spell would be useful to you, wouldn't you want to grow?
What are you trying to say? I'm not small. You guys are huge.
Oh, okay. You wouldn't want to be as huge as we are?
Oh, gross. Especially that one. He points to Tina. Ugh.
Well, you never were our property or particularly welcome, so you're good to move on.
I'm gonna hang out here, and if you guys survive this, then I'll come down and we can get me home. But I'm not going down there. So,
all right. Well, we need a code. So, what would you like the code word to be so that when we come up and call, we'll know that you'll know that it's us.
I'm looking at Jenka like that's the smartest thing I've ever heard. Like,
how about we're alive?
All right, we're alive.
All right, if we come up here and we don't tell you that we're alive, then you know we're dead. If I come up here and I don't say anything, don't trust me.
If we come up here and we say we're dead, remain hidden. Got it. All right, Braxton. Did you remember the phrase?
For what?
Yep.
We're alive. Just remember that phrase, okay?
Okay.
Right. I'm gonna go ahead and I guess I'm gonna go down the stairs. You guys want to have my back?
I'd like to go first if I could.
All right, Tina, lead the way.
Here, Braxton, you stand behind her. You follow her down here. And I'm looking at Braxton. Does he have any sort of anxiety? Does he like seem just unaware of what we're doing, or is he?
No, I mean he's not a bright guy, but I mean he's aware of the danger. He seems to not so much be afraid, but more kind of on alert, if that makes sense.
Worried. Yeah.
Yeah. Many of his traits are or his reactions are almost more like an animal that's sort of like wary as he's walking into danger, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm glad to see that, and I'm just kind of giving him a praising look, and kind of nod my head to him, and say, "We're gonna find glory down there, Braxton. It's gonna be, I don't know many words. It's gonna be glorious." And yeah, I'll head down.
All right. So as you head down the stairs, it's about 20 feet down, and you're in you start to enter a chamber slightly larger than the upstairs one, and there's nothing to speak of in this chamber except you see more of those kind of irregularities pockmarking the walls around you, and there's a open doorway, like an archway, in the middle of the room. Sorry, in the middle of the wall directly in front of you that leads into a second kind of antechamber. And you remember that Aaron said the bottom level is just 2 rooms. Basically, it's a big square split in half. You can hear again sort of a rattly, like a heaving sort of breathing, like an efforted breathing coming from the other room. And this dull purple glow, and you see in the other room, but starting to extend into the room that you're in, little kind of curving, glowing purple lines in the ground. It almost looks like little tributaries or like a river system, but small, kind of stretching across the floor, or a root system or something that's pulsing.
I'm gonna kind of hold my hand up to stop the party behind me, and rummage through my adventure gear and pull out. I think I've got a little like oil lantern.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna strike it and light it up because I just don't trust. And I'm gonna kind of, as I'm talking, I'm narrating so they know how smart I am. Yeah, I'm gonna light this up. I don't trust these runes to be there when we need to see what we're fighting. Do you got your magic light back there, Jenka? You ready to go with that?
Yeah, I have my magic missile kind of prepped. If you want, what we can try to do is I can have my unseen servant go up forward holding the light, and so when the monster sees it, it'll attack that first, and we can get kind of the surprise on it.
Do you wanna give the lantern that I'm lighting to the servant?
Yeah.
And then do you have the light spell also? I'm out of character. I think I've seen you cast it before.
I think it's magic missile. Let me see.
I thought you had
Wait.
both.
You have one spell is
Oh yeah, I think it's a cantrip.
yeah, and I think Unseen Servant's a different spell.
I think that was a cantrip too. Yeah. Yeah, flight. Unseen
Yeah.
servant.
I'll strike the oil lantern, and I'm just asking Braxton, like, hey, watch, like, while I'm distracted, strike the oil lantern and then kind of hold it out. Like, where is your servant?
Do I have to roll anything for the unseen servant, or just
You have to cast a spell.
I think you have to roll cast a spell still.
okay? All right. Looks like it went well.
Nice.
Excellent. You may cast it again later. Sorry.
All right. So I take off my glove, and it kind of starts to turn into little gears and lines and different little wires, and it becomes an unseen servant. You hand off the light to it, and it starts walking in the direction that we've kind of told it to go.
And I think reading the spell, like, it explicitly can only take items from you. And so I think it kind of hurts my feelings that it won't take it from me. I have to hand the lantern to you, and you hand it to the guy. I'm like, aw.
Very shy servant.
And-
Yeah.
Okay, so the unseen servant kind of drifts forward, or I guess you see just the lantern kind of swinging forward into the room. And it floats forward. You see it sort of the inside of the room illuminate, and you can't see the whole room. You can see parts of the room. You see more pockmarks all along all the walls that you can see, and you see on the floor more of these kind of purple fingers or purple strings kind of extending across the floor, and they almost look like they're reaching for the walls, like it's spreading, like a root system spreading.
And the pockmarks are ostensibly the same.
Yes.
The portals that have been there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So far, you've only seen one portal open at a time. But as these root systems start to reach out, you see one portal start to shimmer, and you see another in the back wall start to shimmer. And it looks like whatever these purpley pulsing fingers are starting to empower multiple of these portals at once. Like things are starting to pulse and open slowly.
I'm crawling deeper into the next room. Hey, cut that shit out. And I'm trying to be kind of intimidating and just make a lot of noise. And I'm gonna look back to the group behind me. You're good to go, Jenka?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just kind of what's between the rooms? Is it like a door, or is it just an open doorway?
It's a wall with an open archway in the middle that's probably wide enough for two of the three of you to go through at once if you wanted to.
I'm gonna really dramatically kind of like roll under, because I think there's like somebody's gonna try and hit me in the head with a club at head level, and I'm gonna roll in and like turn and just smash my sword to my right where I expect them to be coming through, and then just wildly look around and see who's in there.
Okay.
So it might be if something would be flying at me as I come through there, maybe there'd be a defy danger as I just kind of like try and burst into the room.
Yeah, go ahead and roll defy danger.
And I'm trying to defy danger, even though it's not necessarily my strength to do it this way. It's just kind of like a weird dexterity attempt at it.
Mm-hmm.
So choose dex. And unless I get some help from Jenka, I'm eating whatever was the danger.
Okay. I think I'm just gonna chase along inside him, and I guess hack and slash to the left, just in case that they're coming from the left. So you got the right, Tina, and I get the left.
Okay. So as you do that, you have to roll your number of bonds with me. As you're doing the aid another move. And if you do this, if you roll badly, then you share the danger that I'm in, sucker.
Okay. Okay, so I have 2 bonds with you. So what do I roll?
Roll the move, aid another, and it should prompt you for the number.
Nice.
It didn't. It just.
So you rolled a 5 and a 6, and you would have added 2 to that, so you would have a 13 instead of an 11.
Okay.
So you still helped really well.
Unless you want to say that Tina took a -2.
or you could impose a -2 on me, bring me down to a 4. So you at least saved my bacon, or fucked my day up.
Nah, I'll go ahead and save you.
Okay, so since that bumps you up to a 7, it's a success, but you still are in a difficult position, right?
Yeah, still have the full response of a defy danger on a 7 to 9. But then if you look at Jessica's move, like she's pretty much unscathed, whatever happens to me.
Right. So you both kind of like jump into the room. You do your clumsy dive roll and swing to your right. Your sword clangs into the wall, like into the kind of the doorway next to you, and bites into the stone about a good 3/4 of an inch, and is stuck. Like you're holding it, but it's stuck there. So you'd have to use an action or a turn basically to try and wrench it out of the wall. Jinka, you charge into the room and swing left next to him. Catch yourself. There's nothing next to you that you would swing and hit. And as you look forward, you see kind of hunched over. It's a female form, humanoid form. Looks like it could be elven, could be human. It's hard to say. Very frail looking and thin, almost Crypt Keeper-esque, like Nosferatu-like, really thin and wiry, with sort of tattered animal skins hanging over. Very primitive looking, I guess, with this kind of stringy hair hanging down in her face. And she's leaning over and hunched over let me pull an image up for you to see. It looks like a flower. I'm going to shrink. I'm not going to see you guys for a second. Sorry. I miss you already.
I miss you too.
Let's do this.
Oh, that's pretty.
So it looks like almost like a bioluminescent flower growing out of the ground.
I'm going to share that screen real quick just so we can put it in the stream also.
I think I just screwed up and lost you in the... What did I do? I'm dumb. Don't do dumb stuff like me, guys. I'm trying to call in again.
I can still hear you.
I'm here.
I did just get you I did get a call from you on another Hangouts thing though.
Yeah, it's because
I turned it down. Oh, Jessica, back out of that one if you're in it.
I'm not in that one.
Okay, good.
So yeah, she's sort of leaning and laboring over this bioluminescent flower. It looks like the image you see, but it's purple, not blue. And the stem goes down into the ground. It probably stands 12 inches. And you'd swear it's sort of growing and opening a little bit, but it's almost too slow for the eye to see. But it's, and then where it hits the ground, you can see the root system spreading out and reaching out. And this is moving fast enough that you can see it kind of stretching towards the walls, like reaching for the portals. And as the roots or the fingers get closer, you see the portals start to shimmer. And this form is just kind of laughing and giggling as these roots stretch out and portals start to shimmer, multiple, 1, 2, 3 at a time.
Is there any sense that the root system is tied to the purple color that we see? Like, I'm trying to picture, is it like is it infecting the purple thing, taking it over, or feeding off of it, or is it separate completely from the purple veins of energy that we saw in the other room?
No, it looks like it's all connected. Like those veins were actually roots of this flower that were kind of almost burrowing under the ground and reaching out.
Okay. Jessica, I'm going to back off to you because my decision is going to get really dangerous here in a second.
Okay, I was actually going to try to do a fireball to the flower.
You know what? I was going to try and get my sword out and smash the lantern to spread oil everywhere. So you're in about the same place I am.
All right. So how bad do we want this to go? Should we put the fire first, or just?
Well, fireball in an enclosed room is always an interesting thing.
It's true.
I'd say just go for it. I'm
All right.
struggling with my sword along the doorway as you're in charge.
All right, I'm gonna kind of make a signal over to Tina that she's gonna want to hide behind the other part of the wall, not the wall where the flower is, but kind of on the other side of the archway to give us a little bit of protection when the fireball goes, and we'll see what happens here. So
I'm really quite touched that you gave me warning. It's a change in our relationship. I think is good.
Nice. All right, go ahead and roll your damage.
Okay, hold on.
And you're aiming at the flower, or I guess the creature, the person is hovering over the flower.
Okay, 2d6.
Nice.
Okay. So, describe how you fire your fireball. I mean, I sort of remember, but I don't want to take that moment away from you.
All right. So, on my wrist is this dragon eye bracelet, and as I look down to it, my hand is kind of in a fist, forcing energy into the bracelet to kind of wield a light to shine up from the eyeball. Then I flip my hand over and grab the fireball in my palm, and then I just wield it towards the flower.
Excellent. So I think we talked, or I described it last time, that it starts about the size of like a peach or something in your hand, right? Something you can grab, and as you throw it forward, it kind of expands and grows.
Mm-hmm.
And so it expands out as it's hurtling towards the flower. And the laughing stops, and this sneer kind of goes across the face of this being right as the fireball hits the flower and knocks back this creature. And you see, as the kind of the smoke and the commotion clears, you see the flower kind of swaying a little bit, scorched, burned. A number of petals are sort of wafting to the floor. And it's not obliterated like you would expect it would have been, but it's damaged and there's petals falling, and you can see that some of the roots have sort of kind of retracted and retreated inward. The portals that were shimmering have stopped. I mean, by the time the smoke clears and you look around, there's no portals that are opening anymore. So it's kind of stopped the progress, and the plant looks definitely damaged. It's not destroyed and it's not dead. The pulsing of the light of the roots is still there, but they've receded 4 or 5 feet away, back in towards the stem of this plant.
Right.
And the creature looks as sort of trying to struggle to its feet. Its clothing scorched and burned, some of the hair singed away on half its head. You see sort of blistering on its face, and it is kind of pushing up back to its feet.
I'm going to abandon the sword into the wall for a while. As I run back into the smoldering room, I'm going to just try and pin the crypt keeper back against the wall
Mhm.
I think I'm not really even mindful about the swirling patterns on the wall, whether
Mhm.
I'm over a portal or wherever I am. I'm just going to kind of trying to manhandle, push him back with like a forearm across his chest, his or her
Yeah,
chest,
her.
and asking where do the people go? We're here for the town folk. We don't want to. I guess we don't care if we kill you or not, but we want the people. And if I have something they want, like I would let them go, it might trigger a parlay. If they're not concerned that, if they think they can get free and I don't really pose a threat or whatever, like it wouldn't trigger a parlay. But my goal is to try and like let's stop the combat for just a moment. Let's figure out where the people are before we get to the business of killing each other.
Do you have to be able to speak the same language of something to parlay with it?
Yeah, they would need to be able to communicate with me and for both of us to understand each other. So if that's not something that can happen, then we're just not.
Yeah.
Like I'm moving that trigger, I'm just shouting gibberish at them, and they're responding in gibberish at me.
Yeah. So you have her pinned up against the wall, and you're shouting, and she just like arches her face closer to yours and just like kind of does a throaty hiss at you.
I'm gonna like kind of pull my face back. She's not biting or attacking or anything else.
No, it's like it's like a show of strength, basically. Like basically you're pushing in and shouting at her, and she's kind of doing the same back in turn. Not saying words, just kind of almost growling at you.
Can we tell, is it a person or is it a beast or monster?
At this point, I mean, Tina, you can certainly tell this is an elf. It's a very feral, primitive-looking version of an elf, but this is an elf.
And you had described in Janka's fever dream, like at different periods, or I'm assuming it was like periods over like the history of elves into the future.
Mm-hmm.
There were some that were like wearing animal skins versus the ones who had like crystals floating around their heads and all that. Like, so
yeah, one of them was probably in blue jeans and a leather jacket. Like, yeah, definitely different periods in time.
So like the audience that's watching this, that like Tina doesn't know any of that shit happened, but like the audience watching this, would they recognize any similarity, or would as Janka comes into the room, which like like this is clearly an ancestral elf or something?
Yeah, I mean, I think Janka, you could put together that like time period wise, this looks like an elf from the time period of one of the more primitive elves that you saw in your last breath. This is not as the you recognized Aaron as somebody who was definitely there. You don't recognize this person in that way, but they could be a contemporary of somebody who was there, if that makes sense.
Right.
So Jessica, you might look at spout lore as a move. This might be something that you can figure out how to, because the cool thing about triggering moves is like they put a little momentum into it. I'm at an impasse with her right now, going back and forth. Whatever interests Janka, but one thing you might do is spout lore to kind of come in, like people to know something about the scene.
I was kind of thinking about charming them, so that's why I was asking if I could tell if it was a human or a monster.
It is an elf.
Does charm person require a shared language? I don't know that it does.
The spell?
Yeah.
The person, not beast or monster, you touch while casting the spell counts you as a friend until they take damage or you prove otherwise.
Does not say anything about sharing language, you're right.
No.
So that's kind of the direction that I was headed, wanting to kind of charm it into stopping what it was doing and help us retrieve the people.
I'm holding her still while you work your magic.
All right, then I'm going to go ahead and walk up, recognize that it's an elf, and try to use my magic to
Nice.
charm the hell out of it.
Very cool.
So then
So you reach up and touch her. Her skin almost feels papery as you touch her. And she's like in a fever pitch when you walk up. She's like huffing and puffing and breathing fast and like almost in fight or flight mode.
Mhm.
And as you touch her and as your spell takes effect, you see her kind of start to slow down her breath and kind of look to you and then look back to Tina. And there's a sense of aggression again as Tina, you're sort of holding her back, restraining her. So she's on board with you, Jen, because she's still fearful or not sure about Tina. Because
Yeah, the charm in no way makes me your friend.
Well, and just because of the sort of grip that you're in. But she's gone from pushing forward to sort of pulling back and kind of assessing the situation.
Right. So I'm just gonna refer to her as friend in the Elven language to see if that registers with her, and explain to her in my Elven language that we're not trying to hurt her and that we would need her assistance to see if she's receptive towards it. Once she is receptive, I'd tell her that Tina would be willing to let her go free, but that I need to see if she's on our side.
And I think while you're making nice with her, I'm just like nodding in support of you. Like, yeah, you tell this bitch. Completely misunderstanding the tone of your conversation.
You can tell. I picture this almost as though like a modern speaker is trying to speak to somebody who speaks like Middle English. Like you can get the gist of certain things, but it's difficult. It's difficult to relay complex messages. She definitely understands friend, and she sort of, you can almost feel the tensing of her muscles kind of relax a little bit when she hears friend. And she's sort of laboring to understand the rest of what you're saying. She understands that, well, I'm not going to tell you what she understands.
I'm going to look back to Braxton and say, go up and get that poppet. Tell him we're not dead, but it's all safe down here. Tell him we set the flower on fire and he can come down now. And we need him to talk to somebody.
Okay.
We set the flower on fire. We're not dead. You're not dead.
I'm not dead.
Kind of go through it with him.
Okay. All right. He kind of lopes away, and you can hear him kind of shuffling up the stairs. You hear murmurs from upstairs. And you can sort of hear a little bit of what they're saying, but you can't make it out. And then you hear Braxton's feet shuffling down the stairs and the loud, vulgar protests of Grundy. And Braxton comes in the room, and he's just got kind of Grundy, like he's walking with him. Almost like he's carrying an infant that he doesn't want to get dirtiness on him from. He's like, it's like, what are you doing? I don't want to come down here. I told you. And he looks and sees the flower and looks and sees the elf. And he's like, what the fuck are you? Why are you bringing me down here?
As I'm pressing the elf against the wall, I'm like, we got the situation under control. We're friends with this lady. And I'm like, ugh.
Clearly.
This is how he treats all his friends.
So, Jessica, you want to talk to Grundy and have a conversation with this lady? I'm going to mute myself.
All right, Grundy. Trying to explain to her that we're friends and that we need her help to find the others that have gone missing. I've charmed her, so we could really use your help because I'm not too sure that she's understanding everything I'm saying to her.
All right. So he starts to babble at her in a language. It's strange. He hasn't heard her. I mean, he heard a few words from her, but he seems to almost intuitively just start speaking in a language she would understand. She looks over to him and seems surprised to see this construct, basically this little golem, speaking to her in a language she understands. But at the same time, it's like when you're in a foreign country and you finally meet that one person who you can communicate with. You know, she's excited to talk back. She talks back to him for a minute, and he looks to you. He says, she says that she's happy to have friends to help her with her work. That the people have been sent, and they've been useful. And that the boon of the earth is proof that they've gone to good use. And that she's excited that you're here to help her with her journey. I don't get it.
Ominous at all.
I don't get it.
Okay.
Are the people coming back, or are they like dead? Is she?
There's the game of telephone back and forth again. Not dead, but not coming back? Or no, that's not what she said. She said not dead, but already here. And then she's kind of like craning her neck and looking at the flower and like reaching a spindly hand over to you and like pointing to it.
My arm's getting sore. Can I let her go and she won't do anything to us?
He kind of, then they chatter back and forth again. No, she's not gonna hurt you. She's excited to show you what your work is, what her work is, what we're all doing here.
All right, hold on. But before you let her go, Grundy, do you know what type of flower that is?
Do I? I don't know. I'm not a botanist.
Well, no,
I
but
was a botanist. Is that one of your foreign languages?
Yes, one of my foreign languages.
well, no. I know you're not a botanist. Well, you've told me right now that you're not a botanist, but
I checked your LinkedIn. It did not say botany.
but you were so frightful of coming down here. I assumed that you knew what was down here, and when you came down, you are kind of you can't tell me what it is?
No, flaming monkeys and evil words, scariness was down here, and so I didn't want to come down and die. I don't know what that. I mean, it looks like a burn up flower to me. I don't know what it is.
He correctly guessed that creepy magic bullshit was going on down here.
Right.
Okay. Tina, go ahead and let her go. I think I can manage her, okay?
All right, I'm gonna let her go, and I'm gonna kind of, Braxton, you watch her. I'm gonna go and start kind of working my sword free.
Right.
Not like aggressively. I'm not like stink eyeing her while I'm doing it.
Right. So you let her go, and she kind of crouches to the ground a little bit, rubs her chest where you're holding her, and then stands up straight again. Starts to kind of circle her way around, trying to get back over towards the flower. She's not like rushing towards it aggressively or anything, but that's where she's headed. She wants to kind of check on it, tend to it, show it to you. You know, she's gone from menacing and aggressive to, I mean, it's like friends have arrived to share in whatever she's doing.
Jessica, I kind of feel like we're more in your bailiwick than mine here. But you might want to either think about like that spot lore I mentioned, or even to discern realities, like investigate the flower yourself. Take a little time with her to look at it, or as she starts interacting with it, like see if you can predict what she's trying to do.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was headed. So, Grundy, can you ask her where she got the flower from? Is it something from here, or from another world, or other dimension?
Sure. I will keep doing this for you. They chatter back and forth. This lady is weird. She says it's from here and from there. She doesn't say what there is. It's like I should know what there is. But she says it's from here and there, and it's a gift from the people that have brought it forward. Yeah, it's a gift from them.
You know, I think I know what type of flower this is. I think
Alright.
it's from the underworld, like where souls go to rest. Like I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but I think I'm gonna sprout some lore. Can I do that?
Sure. I'm gonna cheat and look because I don't remember exactly how spout lore works.
Jessica, your roll isn't good enough to make this worthwhile, but you can also use books to give yourself a +1. But even if I helped you and with the book, we'd max out at 6 anyway.
Yeah.
But on a failure on this, it's just a failure. You just don't know, right?
Well, no. Some moves say what happens on a 6-, and that's what happens. If it doesn't specifically say, then it's still a 6-. It's not a failure. Like something has to happen, but you make a GM move. This might be a point where you have Jessica roll on that table, the GM moves table, but yeah, it's not just failure to work.
Right. Got it. Shoot. So, and in your spout lore, you were essentially trying to discern whether the nature of the flower is what you thought it was.
Yeah.
By looking at it, by sort of pontificating about it.
Yeah. Just because of the wording that they were telling me about of here and there, and kind of recognizing this person from my death visit, thinking that maybe it was a gift from the elves from the Elysian Fields type of deal.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So you're having these thoughts. You're having these sort of not like educated guesses about what this might be, and you're kind of leaning towards the flower and starting to look more closely at it. And Tina, you see as Jenk is getting closer and closer to the flower, the posture of this elf is changing. Like she's not an excited friend wanting to show you something anymore. She's like starting to try and like get between Jenk and the flower a little bit, like almost like she's going to slap your hand away. You haven't broken your charm yet, but you're putting yourself in a awfully dangerous position. And as you get close, almost close enough to reach out and touch the flower, she shifts herself in between you and the flower and just has this kind of steely-eyed look on her face, and mutters something, and you see the papery thin old lady skin that she has sort of start to raise a little bit, and it's almost like barnacles have grown like on her skin.
So my initial reaction, what I thought you were describing initially was it was kind of like if Jenka was going to hurt herself by touching a hot stove and she's getting in the way. But now it sounds like maybe she's protecting it from Jenka, as if she's worried Jenka's about to hurt the thing.
Yeah. Yep. Like, yes, she's. If it's a test between her loyalty to you as a friend and her loyalty to this thing, she's drawn her line in the sand, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And she's armored herself, but she's not attacking. And Jenka, you weren't like reaching out to grab the thing. It's almost like you got so caught up in what you were doing, what you were thinking, that you're like, yeah, I think that's what this is. And you kind of, without even knowing it, started to move towards the thing. And she's now squared off with you. Again, she's not attacking. She's not aggressive yet, but she's clearly in a defensive stance at this point.
And I think my response, I kind of heard Jenka guessing that it's an afterlife thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I see this woman move to protect it. So I'm really moving along with Jenka's explanation. Like, oh, it's like full of their souls. Is that what we're and oh my God, like we need to let them out of there. Like, how do we let these people go? Like you can't run the plains of eternity if you're stuck inside of a flower. Although maybe I don't know. Maybe that's actually a nice way to spend your days. Jenka, what do we do here?
I'm probably gonna step back from the flower a little bit and look at my friend, and ask her if it's a flower from the Elysian Fields. Just ask her directly. See how she responds.
There's a look of surprised recognition, and then again, kind of excitement, and she's like nodding, like yes. And Grundy starts chatting with her and talking to her again, and looks back and says, yeah, she says yes. She says that's where this is from, and that the human fodder is helping her get to Elysium.
Yeah, so that word bothers me. I think she's been killing our folk for this flower. And our job is to try and get those folks back, or at least figure out what happened and stop it happening again.
I don't think that they're going to come back, but I think I know what she wants. I think she's trying to get to Elysium. I don't know how to help her, though.
Ask her if she can get the other people back. I've got another way to send her to the afterlife.
That's not how we make friends, Tina.
She's killed a shitload of people. We've run into their families. Like, I don't know if it's changing her mood like now. And there might be, I don't know if Jessica's thinking about this, but like you've also been compelled to like help the elves, right? Like I'm like, yeah, like this is a clear threat, but maybe to you it's actually a noble purpose. So as we move forward through this conversation, like if I push too hard and make it unfun or something, let me know. But yeah, I'm like, yeah, like this has got to stop. She's a monster as far as I'm concerned to these people.
And I guess this is maybe a place we could world build a tiny bit, but with Elysium, like, is this a heaven-like state where if you're an elf, you have to like do good deeds throughout your life to earn your way to Elysium, or is it just where all elves go when they die, or is it where you go if you die a heroic death, or kind of what's the?
I think for Elysium, it's you have to die a heroic death with lots of good deeds in your life.
Okay.
So she's trying to find a back door because she didn't earn the way. That's my interpretation of that now. I just made that up. See that? It's basically the movie Dogma, but with less George Carlin.
Which is never a good thing.
So yeah, Jessica, what are your thoughts? Are you wanting to help her complete her quest, or is Jenko wanting to help her complete her quest? Or do you kind of agree with Tina's concern that like she's using people as a fuel to like power the train home?
Yeah. I think she is trying to do that.
Is it interesting to find out like how many more she needs? Like maybe she's so close that like we give her Grundy. I don't know what we do, but like she's so close that, like we just look the other way while she finishes it, and then we promise the villagers that the problem is solved.
She only needed one more, so we could have given her Baxton, but I kind of destroyed the flower in the process, so she probably needs more than that.
Or Braxton.
I guess we could ask her how many more she needs.
Have you guys decided what you want me to tell her yet?
Wait. Let's Do you have a spell? There's I think a wizard spell for like tongues. Do you happen to have that, Jessica?
Let's see.
I'm trying to double check what the spell list is too.
I don't think you do.
I don't think so either. No.
Oh, do you have contact spirits?
No, I have Fireball, Telepathy, Charm, Magic Missile, Alarm, Detect Magic, Prestidigitation, Unseen Servant, and Light.
While they're talking, I guess I'm just really looking at the flower.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not poking at it. I'm watching. How is it responded like to the fire? Is it starting to try and heal itself? As people get closer and further away from it, is like pulsing like hungrily, like a Little Shop of Horrors, like it's trying to be fed. I'm just trying to really scrutinize this thing because I'm debating just axing the damn thing, and then we have an angry elf on our hands. But I don't, that might piss off Jenka. And as a player, I'm not going to do that without Jessica buying into it too. Even if Jenka opposes, like Jessica and I might be on different sides of it. But as players, we have to be on the same page that that's what's about to happen. But I am trying to figure out what can I kind of watching it.
Hang on 1 second, because I'm getting a text that I might need to go feed Odie. So if this is a good time to just take like a 10, is that all right?
Yeah. No, let's do that.
Okay. I'll try to be back at 10:25.
Excellent.
I'll do my best. Okay. I'll be back.
Is that a happy baby with a full belly?
So he'll sleep if I hold him, but he's not wanting to sleep on his own.
Yeah, okay. Is he gonna be able to sleep while you talk?
Yeah. I mean, he's not sleeping right now, but he'll fall asleep pretty quick. What are you doing? Let's see, goose. Here. Yeah. We'll give it a try.
Okay.
You might occasionally see an arm reach up and grab me.
That's good.
All right. So I think we left off with Tina. You said you were going to kind of look and see what you saw, how the flower was like recovering, or whether it was reaching, or.
I'm pretty nervous about the flower, so I'm just kind of eyeing it and trying to speculate. Like in my head, I'm picturing like it's full of souls, and I'm not quite sure how that would work because the soul's got to be at least as big as like your heart or something. But you mentioned the pulsing of the roots, and I'm almost picturing like that might be like people, like each pulse is a separate person that's been sacrificed to it or something. So yeah, I'm just generally kind of looking into it. But I'm just not sure that it would really be a discern realities type thing. It's more like a spout lore, and I might just take a back seat on it to Jessica's got an idea. So I think in this scene, I'm just kind of like backs against the wall. I'm sitting there, probably sharpening the edge of the sword where I like slammed it into stone, trying to work out that dent.
Okay.
And just watching.
Okay. And you said, Jessica, that you have an idea?
Yeah. I'm gonna ask her if her intention is basically to get back to the Elysian Fields, and if so, what does she need?
So via your game of telephone, Grundy says, well, she's not trying to get back there. She's trying to get there. She hasn't been there before. She's been waiting a long time to get there. She needs more people.
How many more?
She's not sure how many more. And they're sort of jabbering back and forth. And at times it's almost like an old, like the stereotypical old married couple where they almost seem like they're sniping at each other back and forth. She's not answering the question the way he wants, and so he's like asking her again in a different kind of impatient way. And he finally turns to you and says, she says she's getting closer, that there have been hundreds so far, and she's nearly there. Doesn't seem like she really knows. Like more than one, but not hundreds more.
Yeah, when the hundreds comes up, my eyes go up and I kind of look to Jenka and kind of, I'm close to not being on board with any plan.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me check my books. Maybe I might have something that can show us how to get you there. So, I'm basically going to try to look through my books and see if I can find a ritual that we can use. Maybe with 2 elves using their powers we might not need as many souls.
Okay.
So would it be spellbook or would it be ritual?
Ritual magic, you basically look at the move, you're going to describe what you want to do, and Josh will tell you the costs.
All right. So basically, what I want to do is maybe with her power and my power, open up a portal to the Elysian Fields and send her that way.
Okay. You want to use ritual magic to do so. Is that a... Sorry, I'm showing my ignorance here. Is that
It's actually a wizard move.
Is it a
It's
wizard
one of
move?
their basic moves, yeah. She says what she wants to do, and so wouldn't even like technically to trigger the move. She doesn't specify that it requires working with the other other elf or not.
Okay.
The move is when you draw on a place of power to create a magical effect, tell the GM what you're trying to achieve. So it requires a place of power, but we've established that we're there.
Right.
So Jessica tells you what she's trying to achieve, which is to open a pathway to the Elysian Fields for this woman. Ritual effects are always possible, but the GM will give you 1 to 4 of the following conditions. Do you see the move there? Do you see the bolt list?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking through it.
And so one of the conditions might be like it's going to take you dozens more souls or 1 more soul. Like you can make whatever requirements you want. But you might also give her a way to bypass the soul requirement. Or actually, this could even turn into a quest. Like you need more souls, but like, all right, let's go round up some prisoners, or like let's go get some goblins. Like maybe it doesn't have to be humans.
Okay. Okay, so you do need at least 1 more soul to do it. It would take you the rest of the day to do it. You're not sure whose soul it will take when you do it. You just know it will take a soul of somebody in the room. And the other thing about Elysium that you remember is that I guess it's up to interpretation, but when you were there, your wounds were gone and you came back in perfect condition. It's almost like your body didn't transfer back and forth to Elysium, just your essence did. And with your ritual, it's not as powerful as actual earned transport to Elysium. So if you go about it this way, the body will go there in the form that it's in the condition that it's in. Does that make sense? So if you can do this ritual, somebody around you's soul will be sacrificed, and this old elven woman will go to Elysium in the state she's in now. She won't be in the whatever the perfect form that you would normally be when you're there.
Okay.
So I guess it's like a roulette wheel. If you put hundreds of people in this room with you, it's still just going to be one. I guess there's better odds that it won't be you.
Yeah.
If you just go with the number of people who are in the room, there's a pretty good chance it's going to be somebody that you know and care about.
Well, when we start provoking the question of like, do you let people in the room know the odds they're taking? Like, because you're the only one that knows this. Who is Jenka Vales when it comes down to it?
Is this kind of bargain something that she would be okay with in general, even if it was 1,000 people in the room? I don't know.
And it might help with Jessica's decision making. That it may be something that Josh and Jessica are not interested in, but to say like, you know what, we'd leave it down to like a die of the number of people in the room.
Yeah.
And like in alphabetical order, One is the first name. Like it'll be truly random, or Josh might know who he intends to take. But if Jessica knew, would that influence your decision, Jessica? If you knew it was like truly random, or if he had like a plot idea of who it might be, or is that not an influence?
I don't really think that it's an influence. I think it would be nice to know so that I wouldn't be going and killing everybody in my in my path before I find the right person that I have to sacrifice.
No, you're gonna do the ritual, as I understand it, and Josh can correct me. You're gonna do the ritual, and at the completion of the ritual, somebody in the room, their soul's gonna go into the flower. Like, we don't know who until the ritual's done. Is that right, Josh?
Yep.
So then it would be like 2 people that are going to the flower, because it would be this elf and then another person, correct?
She's not necessarily going to the flower. She's going to Elysian. We don't know where the other people go.
So
The other people seem to be here, because she said they're here in this room.
it doesn't seem from the way that, well, and I can't tell you how it seems. If I described it in such a way that souls that are going into the flower are headed to Elysium, that was not my intention. They seem to be the fuel to power this flower, which is somehow going to get her to Elysium. It seemed to be reaching out and opening portals all over the place.
Right.
And that was how I understood it.
Okay.
Yeah. She needs somebody to prime the pump. The ultimate irony could be that it could consume her soul and open a portal to Elysium that she's no longer able to go through.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking too. Okay.
And Jessica, does it occur to Jenka that like this person hasn't earned her way into Elysian? Like maybe it's not the right thing to do to send her there? Like, is that even a concern? Or can they just handle it in Elysian? Like they'll handle her when she shows up.
Well, I think as a character, I'm thinking that Elysium has its own like selection process, because even when you show up there, you go through a trial of whether you're deserving or not, because I went through it. So that's not really much of a concern about whether if she goes there she'll be deserving of it or not. They'll automatically make a decision on that. But I think outside of the character, I'm thinking probably what I would want to do is use telepathy on Tina to make her aware that what I want to do is attempt this ritual, but in the process of it, once I got her kind of bought into it and assisting, I want Tina to like stab her in the back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and so is it like a sham ritual? Well, I guess do your telepathy first and see if you.
Yeah, I guess roll to cast a spell. Yeah.
So I'm sharpening my sword, and all of a sudden, like the sharpening stops, and I start hearing your question in my head. And I'll resume the sharpening to try and like cover up the fact that we're doing this. And you lay out that plan that you will do the ritual, and I'm going to ask you, like, are you really doing a ritual, or is it all an illusion?
It'll be the beginning of it. It's a long spell, so as long as she's bought into it and distracted, then that's the time to strike.
Yeah. Then I'm good to cut her open. But maybe like can we get some people back before or after she's gone, and maybe the little dude, maybe this is a good way to send him home too. Is that something we want to do before we just kill her, or can we do that after she's gone?
I think we can try to do that after she's gone. once she's gone, I think we can destroy the flower and send Grundy back home.
And can Jessica consider a ritual? Like, is this the place to power for that sort of thing too?
Mhm.
Like, it's a separate ritual, but what about
Yep.
recovery of the people? Are they just gone? Are they out of reach, or are they recoverable?
Are you asking me or him?
I guess I would have no way of knowing. It would be for you to decide if you want to try and like to propose that ritual to the GM to see whether or not he thinks there'd be a way to do it.
Okay. Josh, do you think there'd be a way for us to get the characters back?
To get the townspeople who've gone into the flower.
Yeah.
So, and so if she's proposing a ritual, and look at that move, and you'll see all sorts of arguing about this online. That move does say anything is possible. The GM does not have instructions that they have to make it plausible. If you think it's just not interesting to have them recoverable, it can be like the cost is so high. Like, yeah, you can do it, but you have to like for each person you bring back, you have to sacrifice one of their loved ones. Like you could just like, yeah, I'm putting a bar right in front of that.
No, I think you can do it, and I mean the cost isn't contributing more and more souls. Like it's not a trade sort of thing. But the big cost is time. In order to recover people, it's hard to say. I mean, I would say Jenka wouldn't be able to pinpoint in her head that it's going to take days, weeks, months, but just that it's going to take a vast amount of time for each person to get them back. I mean, as a GM, I would say it would take, a week per person that you're bringing back of just, all day ritualistic spell, and then sleep and rest and then start again the next morning. I mean, looking at this woman who's been pouring souls into this thing, it appears she's been doing this for a long time. Maybe not always here. I mean, you could almost surmise that she's using the portals to hop around and like sort of pour souls into the flower, and then when things start to get hot, she's hopping to another place of power and doing it somewhere else. And I mean, she may have been doing this for years.
And so if Jessica, if Jenka lets me know like there's a way, but it's like time consuming, like would you share that with me?
I'll tell you that there's a way, but that we'll have to get to that bridge once we get rid of her first. I won't tell you how long it's going to take just yet.
As a player, having heard what Josh said, Jenka would see this as a money making opportunity. Like, oh, you lost somebody to the portal. Like, whoever pays the most, we do theirs first. We make enough money, and Jenka teaches somebody else to do it, and we can go off an adventure and like become more famous, while your apprentice Aaron or whoever else is back here doing it. Like, Jenka is totally all about the money making rescue operation. It takes like a week per person. So yeah, if you tell me like, yeah, there's a way to do it. We don't need her around to either send Grundy or the people through. Then I'm gonna finish sharpening my sword and look to you and say, so you think we're gonna be here a while?
Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of put my pack out and stretch and just kind of lay down and start sleeping.
All right. Last question. Could I make this ritual a ritual to open up a portal for Grundy? But it seemed like it's a portal that's opening up to the Elysian Fields. And if so, what would that take?
I would say, yeah. First of all, yes, you could do a ritual to open up a portal to send Grundy back. What that would take is, number one, having a good sense of where you're sending him. Like you don't know a lot about where he comes from or where he's going, so you need to find some way to learn about where to toss him, unless you don't really care where you're sending him. If you're really trying to send him home, you need to know a way to sort of pinpoint where that is, whether it's just talking to him and learning about it or reading about it or what. So that'd be number one. Number two, it's clear to you that this other elf wields magic somehow. You don't have a way of knowing whether she'll be able to recognize the intentions of your ritual or not. So you'd be opening yourself up potentially to risk of her being wise to your plan.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. All right.
The ruse could work or it could not, and you don't really know what type of magic she does to know whether she'd be onto it or not.
Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and just let her know that we're going to open up a portal to the Elysian Fields, and that in this book of mine that I have, haven't rolled that yet. It shows us how.
You don't need to roll. When you do a ritual, you're going to roll the ritual move. You don't need. Actually, I don't think there's even a roll involved with ritual. You don't need to roll the spout lore to know how to do the ritual, but Josh might make part of the completion of the ritual depend on other moves. Like maybe we'd have to quest out to go kill a monster, and that's a shitload of moves. But maybe as part of this spell, if Josh wants to kind of reframe the ritual, maybe you need to do cast contact spirits or something like he could tie stuff into it. But just for the move itself, you don't have to roll anything, and you don't have to spout lore to know how to do the ritual.
And I want to be sure that I'm clear on what ritual you're trying to do.
Open Elysian Fields.
So you are going to try to do that?
Yeah.
Except her plan is to halfway through, we're going to stop doing the ritual, or at least what she's told Jenka. Halfway through, we're going to stop doing the ritual, and instead I'm going to backstab our little friend over there. That said, I don't know. She only told me like the ritual is going to take a long time, and like I'm going to be kind of waiting for her trigger. So maybe she can even complete the. She's convinced me not to interfere. I'm just sitting there. It's going to be up to Jessica whether or not she completes the ritual, but I expect that she won't complete it.
So the currently in the room, just so I know if we get to that point, is Tina, Jenka, this elf woman, Braxton, and Grundy, who may or may not have a soul.
Right.
And nobody knows the soul requirement except Jenka and the woman whose name we've never learned.
Mm-hmm. All right. So
and I may trigger leveling up depending on how long this takes. I don't know if it would trigger or not, but
well, and to be clear, that the ritual that takes a long, long time is bringing people back.
No, but you said it took like a day to open.
This would take all day. This would take a day.
Yeah, and so for the special moves to level up is I think just when you have downtime, hours or days, and XP enough, you can level up.
I would say for you could trigger leveling up.
Then I think while Jenka's doing that, would you do it within the first few hours, Jenka, or would you give me a little time to kind of rest and level up? And I'm gonna take my move with the level.
Yeah, go ahead and level up. Sweet. It's gonna take a while.
And so I'm gonna take a move that's gonna be the barbarian move for Con of Cons. Your hirelings always accept the gratuitous fulfillment of one of your appetites as payment.
Nice.
And that's kind of all I have to do leveling wise.
Do you need to roll hit points?
No, the hit points only change if I increase my. Oh, and Jessica, did you want to apply your balm, your herbs and poultices. Hit points only change if your Constitution score changes.
Sure. What does that give me?
Do you have it under your items?
But it was like
Herbs and poultices is 7 hit points. It's slow to use, so you basically like before you start the ritual, you might do it, and it'll give you 7 hit points back.
let me see something. Hang on, I'm looking at one. All right, never mind.
I am going to push my Constitution up to 17. My plus stays at 2, but my hit points do go up by 1. I'm done with my leveling.
Okay. So Jinka, you apply your magical herbs. Not magical herbs, but just tasty herbs. Go ahead and mark your 7 hit points. And then you've convinced this elven, whatever she is. I was going to say hag, but that seems mean. You've convinced her to join you in this ritual. She's waiting for you to.
You might call for Defy Danger Charisma or something like that. Like they don't necessarily always believe our lies. If she's convinced, she seems pretty happy, and she trusts. There's a charm out there, so it's pretty reasonable.
I think with the charm, I think she's assumed that you guys have joined her in her work. It's not clear, but she may even assume that Jenka's going to come with her.
Very cool.
All right.
You could turn all this on its head, and you could all try and go to Elysium together.
They would love me there.
All right. So
she's ready to ritualize with you.
So I'm pulling out a bowl and some herbs and start writing some symbols on the ground, and I start chanting and dancing like a chicken with its head cut off, running around.
It's not even part of the ritual. You just like doing that part.
Yeah. So as we're doing that, I tell her that I need more power and that I need more help for her to follow suit. So I'm hoping that she's kind of locked in.
She sits sort of cross-legged on the ground next to you and starts to sort of rock. Her body starts to rock, and she throws her head back, and her body's rocking, and you hear kind of that chanting that you heard before, but it's a low murmur. As she starts to get a bit louder, she becomes almost rooted in the spot that she's in. And when I say rooted in the spot, I mean, you can see almost bark-like protrusions kind of coming off of her legs and gripping into the ground, and kind of extending into the ground and sort of pulling her towards the earth even further. It's almost like her body's starting to push down and leave a depression in the ground. She's just kind of rocking and chanting. It's getting more and more fevered as you work through the ritual.
Is it eerie to Tina? Like, is it the same sort of eerie chanting we heard on the way in?
Mm-hmm.
I probably also, like, at some point have stuffed like some cotton in my ears and like given some to Braxton as well.
And for the first time, really, that you've noticed with Braxton, he seems uneasy. Like he's like fidgeting and he's kind of pacing. And
I'm gonna reassure him, like, we don't truck with magic very much. I mean, Jenka is a special case, but Yeah, you stick with me. We're not going to bring you into this kind of shit very often.
The flowers pulsing gets not more frequent, but just like slightly brighter every 10, 15 minutes. It's just a little brighter each, interval of time.
All right. As all of that happens, Tina starts to hear Jenka's voice in her mind. All right, the time's come. We have to do it now.
So while she's kind of rooted and rocking back and forth and swaying, I'm gonna get up and kind of stretch my legs and move as nonchalantly as possible. And it's up to you to describe how nonchalant and eager Tina is when she's trying to get the drop on a frail old woman.
Play it cool. Play it cool.
Tina, this must be really hard for you, considering that you always have to say your little monologue before you slaughter somebody.
Tina's the embodiment of a Schwarzenegger character. Is got to have the tagline.
I'm gonna look at my Herculean appetites because I think it makes sense that I'd have to at least try to satisfy one of them here. Shows riches and glory, or riches and property and fame and glory, and she's got nothing here, right?
No.
No riches.
No.
Then I'm gonna try and kind of move behind her, and then I am going to just kind of pronounce you. You tell him in elf hell that Tina sent you before I attack. So if she's mindful enough of the room that's coming in, and it's probably hack and slash. If she's completely oblivious to me, it would not trigger hack and slash because she couldn't hit back, and I would just roll damage or whatever you add. Maybe she's even immune to swords at this point, but yeah, if she's got any response at all, and if I could hurt her and she could hurt me, then it would trigger hack and slash.
I don't think in this state that she could hurt you or dodge this.
She's just too deep into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then I will just lay into her with my sword. And let me roll my damage here.
Roll my damage.
5 shitty damage. Plus 2 piercing. So if she has armor, I disregard 2 of the armor points.
Yeah, I mean, she had her bark skin, but that's not 2 armor. So 5 damage. How do you swing down on her?
I think as I kind of say that, I'm just going to kind of do a low arcing swing, trying to I think I'm going for severing the spine. And so I'm just kind of trying to hit her below the shoulders across the middle back. Almost like swinging a golf club, but with the tip of the sword kind of cutting through meat.
Got it. And you do hack into her side and you hear a shriek, and she sort of somersaults to the side, rolls as you hit her.
Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Got a live one.
I mean, not in an evasive way, you hit her and she tumbles.
And I can tell she's not dead.
Right.
Yeah.
She is not dead.
I didn't do my job well.
She kind of skids to a stop and looks up to you, curling her head to one side, sneering, grabs her hands into the ground, and you can see her fingers and hands start to kind of morph into claws.
And I'm just going to scream the challenge. I'm triggering what are you waiting for? When I call it a challenge my enemies. And I'm just going to really try and get her to focus on me so that Jenka can keep doing magic and Braxton can do his thing. So I'm going to kind of yell at her, you freaky scarecrow. You cost these people too much. We can't let you wander on your path. And I'm going to try and make her pay attention to me. 9. Jessica, you want to do something to help me? Well, probably not much. Not much you could do unless you think of something. On a 7 to 9, a few, the weakest or most foolhardy among them, fall prey to my taunting. So probably nothing with her.
She is pretty pissed at you, though, for hacking at her and ruining her ritual. Yeah, she hisses at you, and you see her skin start to shift and change. Her hands change, and she shifts, her form shifts into that of a panther. And she's just like stalking, waiting to spring.
I suspect that Tina is not familiar with like shape shifting. Like I don't think the playbook, the druid, is a common thing where she comes from, or people with that power.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she turns into a great cat, like I'm fucking enthusiastic about it. And this is actually like a flaming glory. Maybe on my next hack and slash, I'll roll Herculean Appetite. So it's okay.
Sure. Yeah.
And unless I'm springing across at her now, like it's not an old lady I'm attacking. This is a worthy foe. I'm charging across.
Great. And you can see even as she shifts, she's wounded. I mean, she's still wounded from the fireball. She's now wounded from your attack as well. But she's ready for your attack. So go ahead and roll your hack and slash.
My D8 is the first of the 2 dice.
Ooh.
So 7. So if the D6 was higher than the D8, I'd have more problems. As it is, I've got a 7 on a hack and slash. So I'm trading. I'm gonna roll the hack and slash move now just to get the effect, but it's not my actual roll.
Got it.
Oh, and it wasn't as good as an 11.
Well,
on a 7 to 9, deal my damage, and they deal their attack against me.
Okay.
And so damage. I do 7 more points to her, again, piercing 2.
Okay. And go ahead and roll a d6.
What's the cat attack against me? I guess I charge into her, like bringing the sword down, and she does her thing.
Yep.
I take 5 points. I have 1 armor, so I take 4. Or does she pierce armor?
She does not pierce armor. Yeah. So you rush in, and I mean, as a panther, she kind of wraps her her forelegs around you with her claws and tries to sort of bite into your side as you hack down. You dig into her for 7 damage, and you hear a crack of bone as your sword hacks in. Her legs kind of splay out from under her for a minute, and she's working back to her feet. She's alive, but she's hurt pretty bad. She's still in the fight, but between the fireball, between your blindside attack, and between this one, she's in rough shape for sure.
There's an amount of amusement to my voice as I call out, Braxton Jenkins, she's a huge fucking cat. Get in on this. And I'm just like punching her. She's raking me, and I've been hitting her with my sword. Yeah, this is fucking cool to Tina.
Braxton rushes in as soon as you invite him in, and he's rushing in to assist with your next attack.
Yeah, very good.
And Jenko, what are you doing? Have you dropped the ruse of the ritual? You could try to continue with it on your own and see if you can achieve it if you want to.
No, I'm gonna go ahead and drop the ruse, and I'm gonna try to cast a spell. But
Sure.
Because of everybody in the room, probably gonna try to do magic missile instead.
You got it.
Nice.
There you go.
So let's see how much damage this does.
3.
Wait. Is that the roll of the D4? Yeah. Okay.
You rolled a 1 and a 2, yeah.
All right. So the magic missile kind of veers off and plunges into the panther's side, and it releases Tina. At this point, releases the teeth and the claws, and kind of rolls over, ass over tea kettle, kind of over its side, and she like switches out of that form and back into her human form, and it's just like clutching at the ground, like starting to kind of scrape and claw and crawl towards the flower.
Okay. Do you handle the flower, Janker, or is that something I'm going to do?
I can do another fireball, but we're gonna have to kind of get out of here. That's something you're interested in?
I think even if you're throwing a fireball, like I'm charging right at her. I'll probably end up being stuck in your fireball, or maybe having to take it to fight danger or something, as it erupts in my face.
All right. Well, you better dive pretty easily out of the way then, because.
And just in terms of the mechanic of what happened, you hit her with your magic missile. There's a druid move called Shed, where you can avoid some damage by popping out of your form. And she did that. That's how she avoided death. But she seems to have taken her focus off of both of you and is just trying to get to this flower for one reason or another.
Because she wants to teleport out of here. We can't let her go.
All right, fireball in the hole.
Right.
Ready?
Was the 12? Okay. Now, is your fireball at the flower or at her?
Well, they're both kind of going in the same. She's kind of going in the direction of the flower, right?
She's headed towards it. She's not right next to it yet, but she's headed towards it.
We'll go towards her.
Okay. And Tina, you're headed towards her as well?
I see her going for the flower, and so I'm diving to the flower. Mm-hmm. I'm worried that she can like touch it and teleport out of here or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm actually, instead of diving, I'm going to run up and try and is it small enough? You said it's like a foot tall stem. Is that right?
Yep.
I'm going to try and boot it, like kick it off the stem, kind of like you popping the head off a dandelion.
Okay.
But I'm probably running right through the path of the fireball. And as I see it come in, like I'm so focused on I'm just going to grit my teeth and accept the fireball hitting me.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, there's this epic image of like running through the flames and field goal kicking it. I would suggest that might be either Tina, you're a fucking idiot, you're going to take that 6 damage also, or defy danger constitution as I just try and resist like through sheer brute will.
I'd prefer to do the defy danger.
Okay.
So go ahead and roll that. We'll resolve what happens to the druid.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just brute for it. Like my clothes are smoldering as I come through the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But I cut through, and so you're gonna resolve the druid before I get to my kick?
Yes. So the fireball flies in. You hear a shriek, and it just it's almost like a like if you picture a how do I describe it? It's like if you had a globe full of water hitting the ground and just kind of shattering and splashing. That's what it looks like when the fireball hits the ground. It just like hits and impacts and just spreads. And you hear just a brief scream that's then cut off, and the druid is just scorched and killed. And her scorched body is just kind of almost cauterized to the ground, just like burned to the earth. Tina, you rush through.
I'm going to try and pull my kick once she's dead.
Okay.
Because we might need the flower to, if I see that she's dead, I won't kick it. But if I don't have time to see that, I'm on that path to kick. So that's fair.
No, I mean, I think that if you had rolled kind of an iffy roll on your defy danger, I could see that it could be like an unstoppable move. But you rolled well. I think you can pull up and stop.
I probably kick, I kick over it and use the momentum to turn around and oh my God, she was a cat. That was cool. Good job, Janka. Good job, Braxton. Grundy, are you on fire?
He does not answer audibly He just shakes his head. All right, so you're standing essentially right next to this pulsing flower. It's not growing anymore, but the root system is extended to where it was, and it's just pulsing in place.
Is that something we need to leave intact so we can rescue all the people, or is that something we can take with us, or what are you thinking there?
In fact, maybe this, as the fireball hits the elf and destroys her, you see the flower just reach up a fraction of maybe an inch, 2 inches,
Nice.
open up a bit more, and then settle into place.
All right. That was an easy one.
That was good. I like that. Do we want to call this kind of a wrapping point? Like, would we want to just narratively go through what we do from here, just kind of quickly, or do we want to call it and do like one more wrap session later for next week? Or
I mean, I'm good for either. I think that if you want to sort of just put a bow on it narratively and say, this is what we do, I don't think there's enough to take a whole nother session, even if we did kind of do it in real time. There's one more scene to put a bow on it that I was going to do, but we can do that either way.
It's pretty late for me, but if we want to go through a quick scene, or else I'd rather postpone till next week.
It would be pretty fast. If
Okay.
you just want to kind of tell me your thoughts of how you would proceed over the next days or weeks with this thing, what your plans would be, I can do the kind of period at the end of the sentence, and then we can hold on Dungeon World for a while and do something else if you guys want.
Just kind of been talking about doing some monster of the week, so we can get back into Atticus and Samantha next week if you want.
Yeah, I'd be definitely up for playing.
Okay, so I think Tina was on for a pretty good idea of how much money can you give us for your loved ones. So exploiting the flower as much as we could with that. And then I wasn't too sure if there is an option available for us to send Grundy back home through ritual in this area, but that would be kind of what I think would be what I would want to do here.
Yeah, and over time you can. I mean, just by talking to Grundy and getting to know him and kind of focusing on, and even maybe through telepathy, kind of getting to know him and focusing on his recollections of where he's from, you can almost like almost like an old school radio scanner. You can sort of zero in on the frequency eventually once you have enough information. So given time, you can get him home in this place. And you do sort of create a cottage industry of making money by bringing people back. You get the knowledge pretty quickly that you can bring people back who are put into this particular plant. It's not like you can just bring anybody back from the afterlife. It's only the people that were dumped into this over time.
And I would, if Jessica's willing, or if Jenk is willing, I would prioritize first Francis, whose family disappeared and sent us here in the first place. And not even like just for some goodwill. Like Tina has a bullshit idea that she's a marketing genius. She's like, yeah, we get some goodwill jobs out there quick. We start looking for people that you could train to do it for you, and like we'll take a cut and they do the work. Then Thomas was like the mayor of the town. Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
If he's got some people he'd want to recommend as like the wealthy people from town, like we'll cut him in. Like I see it really not working out to be nearly as profitable as Tina imagined. And there'd probably be like some poor urchins who need their family back. They're like, yeah, we'll just push them to that. Like eventually it won't turn into too much money probably.
Yeah.
But she really thinks it's a cool marketing thing.
Yeah, maybe you get so many people in on the take that it's not what you meant it to be.
Yeah.
And then Aaron might have interest in like learning the ritual and helping with it or something.
We could probably do that.
If he's a mage at all, I don't know if he is.
He is not. He's a scholar, but he's not a mage. So this last scene might affect the way that you approach him as well. So after this day, after this battle, you guys come up with your plans. You start to sort of get your ducks in a row to start bringing some people back. Jenka, you go to sleep that night and have a dream that you're in Elysium. You're in the spot that you remember from your last breath move. The seats are all around you where the elves were, who were kind of appraising you and judging you. They're all empty, except for one. You see Aaron in that one spot, kind of looking you over, looking you up and down. He nods, smiles, gets up from his seat and walks away and just fades. And you feel, it's the feeling as though you're walking forward, but you're being pulled back by 1,000 ropes. And you feel one of them break and clip, and you can move forward a little bit easier. It's like your soul is one less strand holding it back.
Very cool.
And that's where we'll close.
Okay.
Do you have a reaction on that, Jessica? Did that make you think of anything? Or
Mm-mm.
in my head, like as an audience member, it reminds me of like he had the obligations when you hit the afterlife. Like, we're going to send you back, but you need to like promote the interest of the elves. And it kind of feels like acknowledgement, like you did the right thing. You did not let her get in, or whatever, however it would be interpreted. Like a small debt has been paid. Is that kind of what the feeling was, Josh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that.
Like if there's this jury of elves who all appraised you, one of them has let go his hold on you.
Okay.
Very cool. Wheel shit.
That's
End
what
of
I
session.
got. End of
That was
session.
good. That was a good arc. I like that.
Thanks.
Plus, I fought a huge goddamn cat. I always like that.
You did. Both of you did.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Do you want to do your bonds first?
Tina will play an important role in the events to come. I've foreseen it. I think that one was met.
I agree
'Cause
with that.
she had to kill her. And then Tina owes me their life, whether they admit it or not. I don't think that one's met just yet.
And really, just one usually. One under the rules, only one will give you XP, even if multiple.
Okay.
So, yep. And I think I have one of my bonds. I've got two bonds with Jenka. One is Jenka is morbid but useful. I strive to understand her. It's still there. Jenka is a loose cannon. I want to stay on the right side of it. My appreciation for her power, I think, is growing as we kind of see that she's actually like pulling lives, spirits back out of this flower. I don't think it's so much that she's a loose cannon, but like Jenka has a hidden potential. I want to see where it brings her. Something like, and that I'm going to reword it a little bit, but like that I want to be with her. I'm curious to see this happen.
Nice. Okay. Alignment moves?
Mine didn't really trigger. Teach some of the ways of your people.
Discover something about a magical mystery.
Seems to me that happened. Yeah. Okay. Did we learn something new and important about the world?
Oh yeah, we learned that evil ancient elves are trying to find a back door into Elysium. Get their fingers smacked.
Mm-hmm.
Did we overcome a notable monster or enemy?
Yeah, we didn't even take her name first. We just we spent hours sleeping in the room with her, and then woke up and hacked her, and she turned into a cat.
And then did you loot a memorable treasure?
Did we take control of that tower? Is that like that flower and all that? Is that ours? Is that going to be like a thing, or do we not get to claim it?
I mean, I think
We're setting up shop in there.
I think in terms of the end of session move, whether you claimed the tower or not, you've at least claimed some sort of money making scheme out of this, out of using the flower. I think that would count as looting a notable treasure.
Yeah.
Over time, do the people that come out of here have any memories in there? Like what I'm thinking is, as they come out, I'm gonna have like whoever presses coins or something here, press like a silver coin with a flower embossed on it, and then like paint it blue, and like give each one of them like a little brooch or something. Like you're one of the flower children.
You're one of the flower children.
We'll come up with a name for them later.
Yeah.
Like Tina's gonna use this to start like the cult of like the people that we fucking saved.
Well,
That's funny.
I think taking the souls out of the flower could be considered looting a memorable treasure.
Oh, bam.
Yeah.
So
They're racking up the XP.
We both got 4 at the end of the session. Jessica got 5 because she had both bond and alignment, and then we had 3 questions.
Yeah.
Jessica got 5 and I got 4.
Nice.
I'm already at 8 XP toward level 5.
I can level up, but I guess I'll level up the next time that we play.
We're probably gonna forget it, so maybe this week you and I can look at it if you want. But
Okay.
just because we're gonna play some Monster of the Week next week, and who knows when we'll get back to this. I'd hate for you to forget it, or leave your XP unspent. So when we check back in, you can then decide what you're gonna do.
Yeah, I would do that.
That's what I was doing. I was just gonna leave the XP at 13 and then level up before we play the next time when we play.
And before we move off of this and just lose track of it altogether, I'm looking at page 35, Josh. When you make a hireling, depending on where you get them, if they start in a village, it's 2 to 5. In a town, it's 4 to 6. They get a certain number of points when you first uncover them. How many points is Braxton? And then if you can like either roll it or tell me, and I'll put it in chat here. I'd like to kind of come up with a proposal for what Braxton would be, as far as like what hireling abilities he'd have.
You said page 35?
35. And what you do is you use those points to set out their loyalty skill, their loyalty score, and then also how many points they have in things like warrior or burglar or tracker, different things.
Got it.
So I think he was from a fairly small village. It's 2 to 5. So if you want to make it random, I'd do 1 plus 1d4.
That's fine. Let's do that.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and roll that. 1d4 plus 1, and I'm not in the right window. What was it? So, so 5 points.
Nice.
And then kind of as we ask him to do something, can you create a sheet for him real quick? I'll make a note.
I had already jumped out, but I will.
Oh, no. I'll make a note of 5 points for Braxton. And what I'll do is I'll kind of send you an idea. I'll talk to Jessica about him, and it doesn't work. But yeah, this way we can put a pin in that and come back to actually using him mechanically properly.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, that was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Great job. Really good evocative scenes.
My maiden voyage of running.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah. And then next week, I'm going to start working on a mystery for Monster of the Week. We'll meet up same bat channel and find out what Atticus and Silver are up to. Atticus and Samantha are up to at that time.
Cool. I look forward to it, guys.
All right. Be well.
You too.
Night.
Have a good week.
You too.